Seth Rollins winning Money in the Bank is controversial, but it is logical. Thank you WWE for listening to us fans and bringing back our truth. Naomi winning Money in the Bank was undoubtedly the right call. Hey everybody, I'm Allison, a lifelong wrestling fan who is autistic and absolutely loves to analyze and just doesn't really shut up about the sport of professional wrestling. And without further ado, let's get into last night's Money in the Bank and here are my 5 key findings. In at number 5, Naomi winning Money in the Bank was undoubtedly the right call. Her last World Championship win in WWE was 8 years ago, 2017, when she won the SmackDown Women's Championship, and since then she has improved so much, done so much phenomenal work, and not got the flowers she deserves for it. And let's be real, any of the women in that match last night could have deserved to win this, right? They were all absolutely fantastic. It was stacked. But Naomi right now, I do think deserves it the most. And storyline-wise, it makes the most sense as well. Now, I do have a theory. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but I'll say it again now. I think there is quite a high chance Naomi isn't actually going to successfully cash this in, because I have a feeling what's going to happen is she's going to use it to try and win back Bianca Belair and cash it in on Jade Cargill, but not for herself, but for Bianca Belair. Bianca will then refuse to pin Jade Cargill and Cargill will end up retaining. Eventually we lead to a triple threat match and then Naomi will win that, right? Because Naomi deserves this. She needs that WWE Championship, no doubt about it. But I'm just really glad that Naomi's finally getting a push because I am loving this new Naomi character as well. In at number 4, could Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria run it back one last time in a big way at Evolution? Because that ending last night where Lyra was putting the title around Becky's waist and then bang, suplex all the way back onto the Swede of Becky Lynch. Honestly, fantastic. I loved that spot and it will certainly be one I won't be quick to forget. But it made it clear they aren't done. They're going to do it one last time, and that time should be at Evolution. It should be a key match at Evolution, and quite frankly, it deserves a key stipulation to be around it. Maybe last woman standing, maybe Extreme Rules, maybe no holds barred, or maybe, and a lot of our comment section on our watch along last night were mentioning this, maybe it could be a Hell in a Cell match. But regardless, their match last night was just so great, and Becky and Lyra really do have just a tremendous chemistry. It's a joy to watch. It's so just satisfying to watch almost, the way that they know exactly what they're gonna do and it's just so smooth. It's fantastic. In at number 3, Seth Rollins winning Money in the Bank is controversial, but it is logical. I'm all for Money in the Bank creating new stars, but this year I really do think Seth Rollins was truthfully the right choice. Fans have been cheering for Seth Rollins' new faction way too much considering they are meant to be heels, so now shoving it down our throats, it works because fans are turning on them now. And let's be honest for a second here. It is obvious that either Cody or Punk is going to dethrone Cena over on SmackDown. And on Raw, it is clear as day that Seth Rollins is going to be the next world champion. So if anybody else won this match, it either would have been a failed cash-in or something dumb like cashing in on a mid-card title. And I understand a lot of fans wanted LA Knight to win, and I'm an LA Knight fan myself, but the fact is WWE does have an AIDS problem right now, where about 70 to 80% of their upper mid-card to main event scene on the men's side is genuinely going to be retired in 5 to 7 years time, and there are not that many young stars to really be put into those positions. So right now, they can't really be making older guys into main eventers. I'm sorry, LA Knight fans, but it's just not really a good decision. And I get they did it with Priest a couple of years ago, but they can't have too many of those. They just can't. Seth Rollins' faction in the long run will turn Bron Breakker into the next star of the company. So while this Money in the Bank briefcase won't specifically do that, it will help the story, which will lead to that. But before we get into the top 2 key findings, could you guys please do me a huge favor? And that huge favor is hitting like and subscribe on this video and hitting that notification bell so you never miss an upload. We do multiple YouTube videos every single week, plus, and I guarantee you nobody else is doing this for free, a live daily stream every single day, 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, where we bring in fans from around the globe to talk about professional wrestling. Thank you guys. In at number 2, Jacob Fatu's turn on Solo Sikoa was executed brilliantly. And not only that, but I now think Solo Sikoa is starting to lean into a character which will eventually make him a fan favorite for years to come. First things first, the turn itself and the "I hate you" Solo line. We knew it was coming, but it was done well. The fans loved it. It was a great moment, and Jacob Fatu looked fantastic as he always does. And that moment, I think, will be the moment that this men's Money in the Bank match will actually be remembered for long term. But I don't want any of that to overshadow Solo Sikoa's fantastic performance in this match, because he was the MVP, and not because of any flashy moves he was doing, but because of him impersonating the other wrestlers. It was genuinely so funny. We've seen Solo Sikoa try and be serious for so long, and it doesn't really work. But him now showing this humorous side of himself, I genuinely think this could make him like a main event star. It just feels 10 times more natural for him, and I think that's where his potential really lies. Now, don't get me wrong, for this storyline with Fatu, he does need to go maybe a little bit more to that serious side once again, because it is clear that the plan is WWE wants fans to root for Jacob Fatu. But after the storyline, I want to build to a face turn, and I want Solo to align himself with his brothers, the Usos, because those three together, comedy gold. And in at number 1, thank you WWE for listening to us fans and bringing back our truth. Wrestling fans have power. We have more power than any other fans in any other form of entertainment. Why? Well, because we are involved in the actual product. Fans can legitimately hijack wrestling events just with their chants. They can force wrestling companies to listen, to change direction, and this R-Truth situation is the perfect example. Now, I know some fans are putting on their tinfoil hats and saying, "Oh, it was a work. Triple H is a booking genius. He wouldn't make a mistake like this." He made a mistake, just admit it, but he has fixed his mistake now. R-Truth's son has confirmed it in a since deleted Instagram story, so that in itself shows that, hey, he wasn't even meant to say that it's not a work, but it is not a work. And WWE probably aren't going to openly admit they made a mistake, right? But by bringing him back, they basically has done. And at the end of the day, that is all that matters. They have ended up listening to the fans, and I love that for us, and I absolutely love it for R-Truth, who's now seemingly going by Ron Killings. I'm really excited to see where this goes. Well, that's enough about me waffling on. Let's get into the thoughts which you guys have submitted to us via our Instagram broadcast channel. Up first, we have Bo.Aiden, who says the highs was R-Truth returning both Money in the Bank matches, the Women's IC title match, but the low point was the pointless Dominic Mysterio IC title match, and Rollins winning Money in the Bank was too easy. You are right, Rollins winning was very, very predictable. In fact, I'd argue both of these women's and men's Money in the Bank matches were quite predictable, but even still, I don't mind that, to be honest. Especially when so much this year in WWE has been unpredictable. I mean, Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, so right now I don't really have much of an issue with one pay-per-view being a bit predictable. But the pointless IC title match where we saw Octagon Jr. make his WWE debut, right? And they were billing him as a Triple R star. He's actually signed to TNA, fun little fact for you guys. But I didn't mind that either, to be honest, because it was just a fun little match. Arch Enemy 200 says the highs was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match and Becky versus Lyra, and the low point was Seth Rollins winning. It should have been anybody else. But that's the thing. You say that, he's a heel, so it's worked. Now, I know it's not always as simple as that, right? You can, give somebody it and they'll get go-away heat. But Seth Rollins isn't going to get that. Like, nobody is going to stop watching WWE because Seth Rollins won Money in the Bank. Essentially, that's the point I'm getting at here. But what they will do is boo him and boo his faction. Jose99 says the highs was the Women's IC title match. This is a common theme, right? I'm really glad people loved that match as much as I did. The Money in the Bank matches, R-Truth returning, and the lows were sponsor overload. Ladders, briefcase, tables, I mean, it was all very, very sponsor heavy, wasn't it? The logistics of the actual attendance, that was interesting too. Really, really interesting, the attendance, because They really did, I think, almost sell out, right? But a lot of fans turned up late, very strangely. And that, in LA and Vegas, that seems to be a very common theme with events. It's very strange. I think it's because a lot of MMA and boxing events which have taken place there, a lot of people do just go for the main events. And obviously wrestling is very different. But for whatever reason, since TKO have taken over, we've seen that kind of as a common theme. Just a lot of fans are turning up later around that area. It's really bizarre. And also, those green lights on those seats, I mean, they were an eyesore, but not only that, it actually made the seats look empty. And the other low point was Dom versus Octagon Jr. again. Like, it was a fun enough match, in my opinion. The real Som2 says, to be honest, I don't really know where LA Knight goes from here. I feel like this was the last real chance to make him a main eventer. Listen, I'm sorry. I don't think he's going to be one. I really don't. And I think I'm going to do a YouTube video on this in the next week or two. And this is not in any way, shape, or form, by the way, me hating on LA Knight. I like him. But WWE is a business. And right now, for them, it doesn't really make sense to push people that age for the first time. And last but certainly not least, Coach 23 says the highs with the PLE delivered despite predictable outcomes from the matches. That is true. The lows, too limited to mention, but probably the Becky and Lyra match. Coach 23, I'm a fan of you, right? But what on earth are you waffling on about there? Come on, that is an outrageous statement. I mean, half of these thoughts people have set in are praising that match, and it was that good. Can't believe that one. But overall, Money in the Bank can take my money. I really enjoyed it. From start until finish was an absolute blast. One of my favorite events of the year. A bit more predictable compared to most years, I will admit that, but even still, I did enjoy it. But what did you guys think? Make sure to let me know in the comments down below. And as always, I'll be reading them, I'll be replying to them, I'll be liking them, and all of that good stuff. Thank you guys. Have a fantastic Sunday. Peace.